Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake. Today I'm going to be talking about a film nominated for 13 Oscars. It is called Emilia Pérez. It is directed by Jacques Audiard. Let's get straight to the point. This movie has been the most annoying movie in my life, long before I ever saw it. And that's because it has been the subject of Oscars discourse for a while. It is a controversial film. Lots of people hate it. For whatever reason, it is greatly lauded and awarded. I don't understand completely where the disconnect is between Academy voters and human beings. Here's what I don't want to do, because I feel like this movie's becoming a meme content mill. Oh, this movie's so bad. Like, I feel like the internet loves when a movie's really horrible and you can just tear it apart. Oh, this movie sucks. And I don't want that to be this review, because I've experienced it from the other end with my beloved Megalopolis that became a laughingstock, and I felt a little bit like a huge joke. It didn't feel good. I didn't deserve, well, maybe I deserved it, but Nadia did not watch this one with me. For those of you who don't know, I guess the news is out now, but I'm on a movie podcast now, a podcast I've been watching for years, literally, called Sardonicast. I did a guest episode, and I guess I was tolerable enough to invite back, so I'm on that podcast now. It's me, Adam from Your Movie Sucks, and Alex from I Hate Everything. I think Adam gave this movie a 7 out of 10, so that's going to be... I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. Anyways, if you want more movie thoughts from myself and others, Sardonicast. How to describe Emilia Pérez? It is a musical. It is about, theoretically, the trans experience. It is about Mexico. I'll give it this. It certainly does not shy away from ambition. Okay, I'm really trying to give this movie a fair shake, because I've seen so many people knee-jerk shit on it. Feels like if it was a little less artsy, a little less stylish, and had less of a budget, it could be almost like a Daily Wire original. It's so weird. It's so weird in a very unpleasant way. And I think my biggest critique would be that it feels jarring from scene to scene. Like, if things don't flow smoothly. The music feels so disconnected from all that precedes it and follows it. The characters feel like cartoons, just like cut out characters, not just the trans character. Everyone, every few scenes being like, all right, I guess you can do this with the story, but why? I don't understand why. I think that it could be mistaken as artistic boldness, and oh wow, they're really going there and just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And that's cool and all, but some stuff has to stick, and nothing does here. I can't speak much to this, but trans critics, Mexican critics have harshly criticized the representation, whatever that means, in this film, because it's really not very good, just based on my own perspective, and I'm not an expert in that. You just get a sense of flattening rather than three-dimensional viewpoint of what's happening, just a caricature, running into stereotypes, and based on comments that the director made, it seems like very little care was put into research. It was just kind of like a vibes thing. This movie deals heavily with the Mexican drug cartel and real world, like political activism. It's just like handled with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. But what's worse is that it's just kind of boring at the end of, like, because there's a very little dramatic tension from scene to scene, moment to moment. You just feel like you're watching stuff happen. Okay, there's a lawyer character, and she gets kidnapped by this drug lord, and then the drug lord is actually trans and wants to have some operations, start anew. It's just so, it's baffling. It's like, I just don't know any other way to put it. The directing it felt like it was just trying so hard to be like artsy. I haven't seen any of this filmmaker's other work. All of the musical sequences are like the camera's just like pushing in and out and moving around, but not in a graceful way. It's very like one of those Universal Studios rides where it like simulates motion, but you're sitting in front of a screen. I always get sick on those. Okay, something feels off. Why are we moving around like this? By the end of the film, I felt like I really didn't know these characters. It felt like a waste. It felt like all the dramatic moments were just hollow. Like, all right, I get what you're trying, like you're just trying to do this tragedy and you're just manipulating these characters into being pawns in your little cute morality tale. Like, it was just so lame. Maybe it was trying to do some, I guess it was like trying to do some good, but it's also ironically kind of like the good that Emilia Pérez tries to do in the second half of the film. Very kind of performative and not kind of an afterthought. I'll get all into that in the spoiler section. I think also the reason this is getting so much flack is because anyone can watch it, and now that it's picking up more attention and traction. Something else to mention, also, at the time of this recording, a huge amount of tweets have resurfaced from Carla Sofia Gascon. Let's just say they would make Roseanne Barr blush. It's like she was just throwing stuff together to try to invent a new type of racism. Ridiculous, just blatantly racist. Like no hiding, no disguising it. It's just hateful. She's issued a statement that's just like less than nothing. Zoe Saldana is distancing herself from her. And everyone's nominated for Oscars. Like, what's going to happen when they show up? Are they just going to not talk about it? Is she even going to show up? It's so bad that you wonder if she's even going to show up to the Oscars, because everyone knows what you said and what you think. It just sucks. It's a very unfortunate situation, to be honest, because her nomination is historic. It's unfortunate. But we're not talking about the outside stuff. We're talking about the text of the film. We're talking about Emilia Pérez. So, spoilers, I guess? Yeah, spoilers for Emilia Pérez. She's like a violent murderer. It'd be one thing if it was a little more distance, but it's trying to hit these earnest moments with her story, with how she changes her life and her worldview, but it just treats her gender transition as like a reset where she's just like new life, new worldview. And this is someone who is like the leader of a cartel, and like in the second half of the movie, just very suddenly, like she's like, oh yeah, I want to find these missing people in Mexico. And I feel like the writer director just read a story about all these missing people in Mexico due to drug violence and being like, no, it just felt like he looked up what is transgender and then was like, oh, anyone could be trans. What if a drug lord in Mexico was trans? What then? It takes that, just that premise is it takes that in a very unimaginative, flattening direction. All right, we try to see these multiple sides of her. You know, she pays her lawyer just incredible amounts of money so that she can fake her death and go live her life. But she can't stay away from her kids, so she figures out a situation where, okay, wouldn't she... I feel like at some point it'd be very suspicious of like Selena Gomez, who plays her wife. Selena Gomez would be like, hey, you know, the way you behave and stuff, it's very similar to my dead husband. You know, like there are, I feel like she'd realize at some point, much sooner, you know, living with her, but she pretends to be aunt of the kids and then gets mad when Selena there's so many just bad musical moments. There's a whole musical sequence where she's just like in bed writhing around and then like films herself with the camera. And Selena Gomez is quite bad in this, I thought. I didn't buy her for 1 second. Zoe Saldana, she's like really, really going for it. Props to her. The role is just nothing. Like, she wants to be rich, and then she becomes friends with the person who kidnapped her and forced her to do this and then gave her a bunch of money. Like, it's all this manipulation. It just feels hypocritical, but not in a way that's analyzing it or inspecting it. It's just like, yeah, you guys don't care, right? This isn't really important because I want to focus on this stuff. And it's like, well, I'd say it's important to understanding who these people are, since that's supposedly, you know, like what the movie's all about. What is most damning about this film is the lack of curiosity. It just feels like someone going, I want to make this story about these characters and what they go through, without exploring their worlds. And that sucks. I think that makes for bad, unimaginative art. So eventually Selena Gomez is like falling in love with her boyfriend or whatever, and then because, I mean, she thinks her husband's dead, so yeah. And then Emilia Pérez gets all angry and is like, that's your pimp. And she gets like violent. Like, all right, you haven't changed that much, but what does it matter? Like, what is this? What does any of this mean or symbolize? It just feels like a carnival. It feels like just an amusement ride of stereotypes. Let's explore this sincerely. Like, Selena Gomez, I'm getting so over talking about this. Okay, so Selena Gomez kidnaps Emilia Pérez. She doesn't know that was her husband because Emilia Pérez cut her off from the money. So she kidnaps her with her boyfriend, and then Zoe Saldana enlists a bunch of dudes with guns to go after her, to rescue her, because she's like, I gotta protect you. You know, you were an evil drug lord, but you did like a nonprofit where you helped find the people you killed. That's equivalent, right? Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but it's like I pooped in your living room and then sprayed some perfume in the room to help with the smell. Yeah, that helps a little, but that's not really the main issue. The issue is the poop. So yeah, then there's a gunfight, and then then finally Emilia Pérez is like, I was your husband. And then she's like, oh my gosh. And her reaction is because she thinks this whole time she's a whole other person. And her reaction is just kind of like, of course. Like, I feel like she'd just be like, what? Really? Okay, explain, but she just like gets really emotional. It's just very melodramatic and over the top. They put her in a trunk, and Selena Gomez and her boyfriend are driving around, and Selena Gomez just like freaks out and is like, my husband back there, and then pulls out a gun. And it's very confusing as to what she's even trying to do at this point. Like, she's just acting crazy, and then the car goes off a cliff and they all die. The end. Really lovely. I struggle to understand what the movie's trying to say. It has themes, but they aren't really finalized, or they don't really cohere. It's just, again, it just feels like stuff happens. I don't know. I need to stop. Is it worth watching? I mean, it's not really funny bad. It's just like really lame and stupid. We just need smarter movies addressing these topics. Curious artists, not someone who's just going to use trans people, drug violence in Mexico to just be like a carnival, melodrama, tragedy, musical. Like, it sucks. That's what I have to say. Hope you're all doing well and have a very lovely day. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.